Hey, what's up guys? It's Tech Zoomer talking to you here. And in today's video, I want to talk about the BMW 530e. This is the older generation BMW. It's not the newer generation, but I think it's really relevant to talk about because BMW just released the BMW i5 and I will be reviewing that car really soon on my channel, so do not forget to subscribe, you don't miss that video. But I think it's really relevant to talk about this car because I think that older cars are still really good, and especially this BMW 530e, I think it has some advantages over the newer generation BMWs, especially the BMW i5. So if you want to compare these two cars, well, let's make this a comparison video. Then, of course, I will have my full review of the BMW i5, an amazing car, let me tell you. I've already tried it, drive it. It's an insane car. That video is still on production, but I decided to make this quicker review of the older generation BMW, so you will know which one is better for you to buy and which one is better value. This is the older generation of the design of the BMW i5, but I do believe still is very up to date. If you hand this car to most people on the street, they will say it's a new car. This design, it's still 2023 updated. It's really nice. Again, it's different than the newer generation i5. The newer generation 5 Series has a much sharper look to it. This is the facelift version of the 2017 version of the BMW 5 Series. Again, I do still believe it's the best generation one. I don't know why, but this look, this more rounded off look with sharp edges and the traditional BMW look gives the look of this car to be, in my opinion, the best one yet. I think it's more aggressive, but at the same time more familiar. I don't know how to explain you why I do believe this, but again, when compared to the older generations BMW 5 Series, the BMW i5 is too sharp, too boxy, in my opinion. But again, that's subjective. Design is subjective. And what really matters for the BMW i5 at the end of the day is efficiency and range, because it's an electric car. While this one is not an electric car, it's a plug-in hybrid. So you have both motors, the electric one and a gas-powered engine. At the end of the day, design is subjective, but I do believe this one is still really future-proof. Again, when compared to the side profile of the newer BMW i5, this older generation I also think looks better. It has a bit more curves, it's not as sharp, while the newer generation i5 has very sharp lines and very squared design. I don't know which one I prefer. Still, that car, the BMW i5, the new generation of the 5 Series, looks amazing. But also the older generation looks amazing. I don't know which one to choose. These side panels, these side profiles are much more BMW. They are much more traditional. They look much more like the 5 Series that we know. While the BMW i5 also has this new design that will probably change the 5 Series forever. It will be the 5 Series design for the future. I don't know which one to choose. They are both beautiful, but let me know in the comments down below which side profile and overall design do you prefer. Let's now talk about the front of this car, which I do believe is more beautiful than the newer generation BMW i5. Let's go down a bit so you can see better this front of the car. This has sharper lines. This has a more aggressive look, in my opinion. Also, this grille is much better than the newer generation i5, because that's an electric exclusive car. The generation of the gas-powered engine is now adapted to be an electric car, not the other way. This car has a better vent, because I think it's more 3D look. I think it's better in general. BMWs normally are known to have weird grills, but I think that this generation of the BMW i5 has one of the best ones ever. And with this black pack here, makes this one look super aggressive. Again, the bonnet here also drops down with the grille. In my opinion, this is one of the best designs that BMW has ever created. Again, even the headlight design here, you can see it's also incredible. This is very different than the newer generation BMW i5 headlight design, and this is the newer generation one, the laser ones, which are also one of the best in the business. Again, this front of the car still really up to date, and in 2023 I think you won't find any better looking front of a BMW 5 Series. As for the design of the back of this car, I think this is the worst part of the design. Again, I don't know why, but I think it's too simple. The headline design, it's really cool, don't get me wrong, probably one of the best headline designs ever from BMW. But other than that, it's too simple. Although this was a very, very good design in my opinion, I think that the new generation, for being a little bit more sharp, a little bit more squared, gives the car a bit more aggressive look that I enjoy. But again, design is subjective. What really matters is the size of the boot and how it actually performs on the road. So let's talk about that. The back of this car is huge. It has, I think, 450 to 500 liter boot. It's amazing, it's huge. The only thing that I would say is that it's not deep enough. I don't know why. Maybe it's because of the battery and this is a plug-in hybrid. If I open up here, you have more space, but again, it's just to put out the cables. Other than that, it should be higher. So in terms of deepness, it's really deep, but in terms of height, it should be better. In my opinion, this is the only downside of this car is that the boot is deep, but not high enough.
But again, this is a plug-in hybrid, needs to have space for your batteries, for your deposit, and so it makes sense that this boot is not tall enough. The batteries are below and the deposit is on its sides. So this shortens a bit the boot. But the only thing that it suffers is to carry on luggage to the airport. Other than that, I don't see any downsides for day-to-day use. As far as closing this boot, really simple. You have this button, you just click it and the boot closes automatically. This is a very, very nice feature. Forget about design, let's talk about the interiors. As for the interior of the BMW i5, this was very, very futuristic, has tons and tons of LEDs, the screens are really nice and all looks luxurious, feels luxurious and really, really good. You have tons of space for your cups, you have tons of space to charge your phone, the screens are amazing. And this is the new steering wheel from BMW. It has tons of haptic buttons that you can use to control your infotainment system.
While the older BMW 530 had a much more classic interior. This has tons more buttons. It has two separate screens, one for the passenger and the rest of the car, and one for the driver. Also, the steering wheel has way more buttons, everything is more tactile, everything seems more classic. For people that are used to interiors with tons of buttons, tons of ways to interact with the system, then this BMW, the older generation, will be more suited for you. Because, of course, you have several buttons, you have several ways to interact with the system. While the new BMW, as you saw, had only the touchscreen. Everything works on the touchscreen. Everything is centered on the touchscreen. While this BMW, the older generation one, had buttons for you to customize which channels you want, which things you want to do. Then you had modes for everything, you had the blinkers, you had your AC controls all in buttons. Then you had more buttons downstairs, no crystal materials here. And then, of course, you had more buttons to customize your driving positions. Of course, tons and tons of buttons. While the newer generation, as you saw, everything is controlled via the touchscreen. Of course, depending on the trim that you choose, the interiors will be different. This one here has a very, very nice interior. You have this carbon thing, like this is really beautiful. You have also tons of leather everywhere. This is a very, very nice interior on this car. But depending on the BMW i5, you can also choose a very nice interior. As you saw, it was a really, really good one. And if you had to ask me which interior do I prefer, I cannot tell you. I don't know. I simply don't know. This one is more classic. For people that like buttons, like to control everything via the buttons, then this one might be better. But the other one looks more futuristic, looks, I don't know, it has a different look to it. And those crystal buttons are really, really nice. I don't know. Both screens are really good, but I think that the other one is more responsive, works better, and I think I prefer the approach of having both screens in the same display. So, let me know in the comments below which is your favorite one.
It's easy to use the infotainment system of this car. Really simple. It's a touch screen that you can control using your fingers or using the scroll wheel below. This is classic BMW iDrive system. Really easy to use, very compact and easy to use while driving. You have CarPlay, also available, and Android Auto. And of course, you have BMW's map system that you can see feels responsive, but enough of that, let's now drive this car.
Driving a BMW is something that almost everyone should do once in their life. This is a driver-focused car. And the BMW 530e is no different. This car is super sporty, although it's a sedan. And it's something hard to wrap your head around, but it's really true. This car is heavy, this car is luxury, this car is very comfortable. The ride is very squishy, the suspension is really well tuned to be very comfortable, but when you want to, this is a totally different beast. And it's a driving machine. Enters the corners really well, has 287 horsepower that can provide you amazing fun. But again, this is a PHEV, a plug-in hybrid EV. So the fun thing is you have several characters on this car. You have the character of the sporty car, you have the character of economy car, and also you have the electric car character. It's fun because it gives you different perspectives. For example, now we are driving on the hybrid mode, and hybrid mode is something fun because it gives you the electric power. Currently we are on electric mode, you can't hear anything from the motor, so really silent, really easy to drive around, really comfortable. It's the best part of the EV experience, but if you want to, you can kick in the gas motor, and that's something that gives you that feeling, that adrenaline rush that almost everyone car enthusiasts love. For example, press it down, you hear the gas engine, and here we are now on the gas motor. Gives you a little bit more push forward. So I think it's a different feeling than driving an EV, because when you push down the gas motor, your feeling is, you just get extra performance. In this case, you get an EV, you get a gas car, all in the same one. It's the same package. Gives you about 30 to 50 kilometers of EV range on a fully electric mode. If I enter the fully electric mode, it'll give you about 30-40 kilometers. It's not bad, depending on how you drive it. It's not the best, but I think that for most commutes, this is just fine. Because again, if you're driving to work, 10, 15, 20 kilometers, you have a charger there, you just charge it, and then you come back, no problem. And if you don't have a charger, 20 kilometers is nothing, so I think there's no issue there. As far as the gas performance and the gas autonomy, this car can do about 400-450 kilometers on the gas motor, but you have gas stations everywhere, so there's no issue there. Again, this is a sedan, it's a luxury sedan, it's a 5 Series, so the most important part is to be comfortable and to be a great touring machine. Again, that's what it does best. And when you turn on electric mode is where you understand that this car does it best. The steering becomes super light. The steering becomes super easy to use. It's so weird because you can configure all of these things on the settings, you can change them all, and can configure actually where you want to drive, how you want to drive. But the electric mode here just gives you that feeling of premium. It's luxury. It's something that I cannot explain. It still has some power, like I can kick the electric engine and it will go, but it just moves. It doesn't push you. It doesn't force any discomfort. It doesn't give you any G-forces. Nothing. It's just super comfortable to drive on. And that's something that BMW did really well with this car. Gives you a very sporty car when you want to, and a very comfortable car when you don't want to. So yeah, if I can turn on the sport mode, put it on manual, let the fun begin. Because now the gas engine is here, and now now the car just shifts. The steering wheel becomes much heavier, and the car just moves. Gives you extra performance. You can play with the pedals. Yes, that's how you do it. You can hear the gears changing. The gearbox is responsive. It's a totally different car. 300 horsepower to your disposal, and it's just fun. It's just super fun to drive. Yes, I know that EVs are the future. Yes, I know that EVs are silent, they give you tons of torque, but there's nothing like hearing a roar of a gas engine. And this one is a 2-liter gas engine with about 180-200 horsepower. Could be better. It still makes fun noises. It pushes you really well. It has the help of the electric engine, so in total on the extra boost mode gives you around 287 horsepower of total output. It's not bad, but it's not the best. Could be 300, could be 350. If you drive an EV, like a Tesla Model 3, Tesla Model Y, it will give you around 450, 400 horsepower, which is, okay, the performance models, they only cost about $50,000, and they are really fast and give you tons of acceleration. But what they don't give you is this feeling, this adrenaline of hearing the gas engine pushing forward. That's something that a plug-in hybrid and a gas car can give you. And Mercedes does plug-in hybrids with diesels, Why? Why? Why would you make a plug-in hybrid with a diesel? Like, they sound worse, they don't have as much torque on the higher RPMs, and they are not as fun to drive. Yes, they're a bit more economic. I mean, like, you can do average of 3.5, 3 liters at 100 kilometers with this plug-in hybrid, and you still have both worlds. You have the fun gas car, and you have the very efficient and very silent electric car. So let's hit some canyons and try out this sport mode. So now we are at BMW's home, driving curves, the canyons. This is where the BMW showed its best performance. The BMW 530e is a heavy machine, but when you want to, it's a Hellcat. It's an amazing power machine. Gives you everything that you need. Gives you performance, gives you stability. The chassis, the suspension is really well tuned. It's tuned to a point where the BMW doesn't feel heavy, doesn't feel like a big car, a big, long, comfortable driving car. No, it's a driving machine. It's like an M2. It's super weird to explain you how well this machine feels. Super well tuned, just drives fast, drives with performance. The sound sounds amazing. It's the gas engine like we love. Extra boost gives you incredible performance. I think BMW states 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in about 5 seconds, 5.1 seconds, which is just ridiculous for a car of this weight. This weighs more than 2,000 kilos. I think it's 2,300 kilos. Heavy car, but still really cool. It doesn't feel heavy in the corners. Does not feel heavy. The steering is really well tuned. Again, it just feels like a BMW, and that's something that this car should be felt. Hits the corners, you just hit the gas engine, and it goes. It just goes. It just goes, man. God damn. BMW, amazing job with this car. Amazing job. It's just a nervous car. Completely different car from the plug-in hybrid that I was trying out before. Like, the electric motor fools you. This car does not feel powerful when you are using it on the electric engine. Again, only 100 horsepower or something like that. But when you are using it on both the combined engines, there you go. There you go. Jesus, mother of hell. This car is really fast. God damn. You brake, the brakes are good. The only feedback I would say about the brakes is that the first time you touch them, they give you this feeling of the recuperative braking, so they regen the energy for the battery, and so they are not as sharp as if this was a totally only gas car. But still, at first contact, the car, it's the curbs, it just moves. God damn, this is fast. BMW, amazing job. Not even the Jaguar I-Pace that also have tried out. An amazing EV with more than 400 horsepower can give you this adrenaline rush. This is something that only a BMW can give you. The Porsche is also a great driving machine, but you just feel like this is a BMW. Amazing job, BMW. Amazing job. But the cool thing about these plug-in hybrids is that you have a very nervous car again. It just goes. But if you want to, you just put it on the electric motor. And now it's really silent. Slow, very easy to drive. This is a bipolar car. It's really weird. Like, this has two personalities. This has the calm, very easy to drive, very comfortable personality, but it also has the very extreme personality where you have some fun. You are driving super fast, the car makes some cool noises, gives you the paddle shifts, and if you want to, you can put it on electric mode and just enjoy it. That's something that an electric car cannot give you, and that's something surely a totally 100% gas engine car cannot give you. Excuse me for my mouth, excuse me for my teeth. I had to remove 2 wisdom teeth, and my face is pretty swollen, so ignore that. As for the turning radius of this BMW, this car does not feature the rear wheel steering. So, I mean, it's not bad. For a car like this size, it's not bad, but still, could be better. It's, I would say, worse than a Mercedes, the most recent one, EQE and EQS, but it's not the worst. Again, it's not the end of the world. This car, the steering wheel is so light that you won't actually care about the rear wheel steering. It's so comfortable to drive. It's so good. Like, this is a very different car than most cars. So it's an amazing job, BMW. You have made a car that is so cool to drive, so engaging that you actually forget it's an electric car first. So let us now test out the 0 to 100 km/h feature on this car, the launch control. Put it on sport and you just hit extra boost, press on the brakes, gas, 100 kilometers per hour. You're done. 5.1 seconds, what BMW claims, close to it. Let's now talk about my favorite top 5 things about this car. All the holes and grills that let the air pass through, they are all real. So if you put your hand right here and right here, all of these, none of them are fake. This is an incredible thing because most cars, they put these here, but it's totally fake. The exhaust pipes are also real. None of these are fake. They don't have anything inside of them. No, unlike Mercedes, these are truly real. Again, BMW, another point for you. Another cool thing about this car is the keyless unlock and lock. Of course, I have the key, the car is locked, you can see here by the side view mirrors, but if I put my hand right here on the doorknob, it opens up automatically. I'm not clicking on this key, again, it's right here, and it's opened the car. The key is right here, I will close up the door, and to lock this car, really easy, you come here and there's this very texture thing on the doorknob, and you just close up, the car is closed up. Again, I have my key on my other end, side view mirror is closed up, it means the car is locked. Again, really cool feature. And the last thing about these wheels are the calipers for the brakes. These are blue, and this is not the M5 or anything else. This is not an extra, it's just by the pack M that this car is included in, and you get these amazing blue calipers that look super and extra sporty. Again, great job BMW, making me feel that I have a sporty car when I have a 5-door saloon. This is a 5-door saloon, and that's the main objective of the 5 Series. Again, the objective of being a driver is really cool, and BMW focuses on that really well, but the main objective and the thing that we cannot forget about this car is that this is a car for the comfort of the back seats. And so this car has tons of space in the back seat. Although it has a battery inside of it, this is not the full electric car. So the space on the floor is really much better than the BMW i5, which has the battery below and creates an issue where your feet are too elevated, in my opinion. This is my current driving position, and I still have tons and tons of knee room. This car has tons of space back here. This is one of the best cars to go on the Autobahn, to go on the highway, to take big trips. This car was made for this. And so, tons of leg room. The knees are in a very comfortable position because there's no battery on the floor, unlike the BMW i5. And so, you are almost on a 90 angle degree, really comfortable. And then, for the headroom, as you can see, I'm 170 centimeters tall, and I still have like 15 centimeters on top of my head. So, again, if you are below 2 meters, you will be fine on the back of this car. As you know, this has an 11 kilowatt charger. This is an AC only charger because this is an hybrid car. Again, plug-in hybrids, most of them cannot fast charge. This will charge your EV or your electric plug-in battery with about 3 hours of spare. Again, plug it in at night, no issues. But I would say that if you want fast charging plug-in hybrids, Polestar, I think it's Polestar 1 is fast chargeable, and now Volvo cars and other cars and Mercedes cars are now fast chargeable. This BMW, older generation one, is not. Let's wait and see if the newer generation, the correspondent to the new i5, will be able to fast charge. So, at the end, the BMW 530e is a great option for most people. This car is super complete. It's an amazing electric car with 100 horsepower on the electric motor. You can drive it full EV for about 40 to 50 kilometers. Then it's a great sports car. This car drives really fast. The chassis, the suspension is all really well tuned out to be an amazing car on the curves. You want to have some fun? This car can deliver. And then it's a BMW, so it's a whole another story on how good and how engaging it is. But it's also a very comfortable car, a very family car with lots of space at the back, lots of space on the boot, and very comfortable during long trips. So, at the end of the day, which car should you go for is your decision. But I do believe that the BMW 530e is an amazing option. And even better than the i5 for most people. Currently, the charging situation here in Europe is not as good as in the United States. The charging infrastructure is not as good. And if you want to have long trips, if you want to have one car to do everything, then a full electric car may not be the option. Maybe a PHEV, a plug-in hybrid, a car that you can charge at home. You have 40, 50 kilometers of range for your commute, for your work, and then when you have long trips, you have the gas motor. But I do believe it's a personal decision. It's good for some, not good for all. So BMW, great car, great option. Even 3 years later, the BMW 530e is an amazing option. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Do you prefer full electric cars, or do you think plug-in hybrids are the future? Let me know in the comments below what you think. Thank you guys for watching. Bye bye.